I'm Noah. This is Kyle. You're listening to the
What are you
Boxland
doing?
Broadcast. Episode something. I think it's 3. I think this is 3.
Probably.
And the first one was a whole bunch of parts.
Yeah, well, the first 2 are a bunch of parts.
No, number 2 is just 2 parts. It was Incredibles and then Meg.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then we're following up the Meg predictions with the Meg review.
Mm-hmm.
And further discussion about said Megs. So Kyle, as we've always done, we both went and saw movies together.
Yeah.
As we've done
this
since
is
the dawn
the
of
only
time.
one that we...
Since the dawn of time.
And
we went and saw a movie. Which one was it? Can you guess?
I mean, it was the Meg. We literally just said it's the Meg
it's
review.
also going to be in the title.
Yeah.
It was Slenderman.
Here, do you want it? Because you, like, are we going to do... We should probably do, like, spoiler-free or, like, spoiler-free first and then go into spoilers afterwards.
Here we go.
So probably just, rundown.
Here's questions.
Well,
did you like this?
No.
Why? Is it because you suck?
No, it's because it was just like...
suck.
It was schlocky, which, alright, you, like, so, going into this, you're not expecting, like, Goodfellas, or, like, Ex Machina, or anything like that. You're like, it's gonna be Jason Statham, like, fighting a shark. You're kind of expecting levels of, like, Fast and Furious type stuff of, like, one-liners and just, like, fun action. I didn't even get that. There was one, like, there's a scene at the end that's like, this was enjoyable. Everything else I was just, like, bored and didn't enjoy it. And the entire time, like, I could be doing something that's much more enjoyable at this moment than sitting here bored by nothing happening.
Now, here's the part where you're wrong, because we both had fun. We both had so much fun watching this movie.
I didn't.
We both had an equal amount of fun.
Why did you enjoy this movie?
Because it's stupid and dumb. I will not argue for a second. This is a good movie.
Yeah, and like I'm not saying it's a good and that's the thing where I started by saying like, yeah, you know what you're getting into when you go into this. It's not a smart movie by any regards.
In fact, I think the lead up to this movie was just how much ridiculous shit are they going to pull.
Yeah.
Which was the basis for the last Boxland Broadcast.
Which really, like...
I think I would have enjoyed...
enough.
Yeah, I think we would have enjoyed seeing our movie more.
Oh, without a doubt. Because at least our movie, they were just like, let's go for fucking broke. This one, they were just like, let's do some stuff and, like, boring. I was legitimately bored and just like it did not entertain me at all, aside from about like probably a total of about a minute. I would say I was like actually like entertained.
I was entertained the whole way through. I love Jason Statham. He's gonna get some good old get a megalo. If you out there are
benefit, there were a bunch of attractive people in this movie.
There what? Jason Statham, number 1.
But yeah, no, it was just boring.
See, I disagree, because, and this is where it's tough. I've watched all the Sharknado movies, Kyle. I've seen all of them, and they're all the same. Mm-hmm. Same with the Asylum pictures. They're all pretty much the same. The thing with the Meg that gave me the ability to look past its very obvious, very large flaws, and arguably boring, in which I would argue it was not, but that's okay if you thought so, because you think all sharks are stupid, and you wish.
Listen, we still have to watch.
You see a great white, and you're just like, what?
Santa Jaws. That's it. We still have to watch that.
That is true. Santa Jaws.
And then I feel like we'll probably do one reviewing Santa Jaws. I'm fully expecting to enjoy Santa Jaws more than the Meg. Because it just seems dumb and stupid enough that, like, there'll be more just, like, schlocky, but, like, fun moments.
See, for me, Santa Jaws is already better than the Meg, just on the 2-second clip I saw, which was the Finn with the Santa hat on it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you've sold me. You've clearly gone for broke here. We got stuff right, and that was fueling my enjoyment of the film throughout a lot of this. Now, for those out there who don't know, I see a movie every week. With this not Kyle, but sometimes it's also Kyle, but sometimes it's not, and that's the way the worm wiggles, That's after a rainy day. But so you see enough movies over the course of your life, and you start being like, all these movies are boring. And then Jason Statham shows up and says, my God, it's a megalodon. And you're like, I'm all in.
I don't think he said, my God, it's a megalodon.
He didn't. He did just say, it's a megalodon.
It would have been better if he was like, my God. That would have been a much more enjoyable line.
Do you want to talk about the issues with the movie? Because I've got like a few, like within the first 2 minutes of the movie. So now let's step into spoilers here. We're gonna I'm gonna put a little beep in here. I'm just gonna be like, wow.
You don't want me to?
No, please don't. Please don't eat my mic. It was so hard to edit around last time. I had to just cut out like a good 5 minutes of chunk there because I couldn't find it because we were talking through all of it. Anyway, spoilers right now. At the beginning of the movie, Jason Statham's on that sub with all those people, and he's like, I'm going to save all of you because I'm Jason goddamn Statham. And then he's like hoisting people up into the submarine. And then he finds the one dude who's bleeding from his leg, and he's got like a very clearly like prosthetic like attached to the leg. It doesn't look very good. And he's like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna save your life." And then the hull starts to cave in, and then he's like, "It was a megalodon. I know that. Was that submarine below the Marianas Trench barrier? Because it would have. That's the only place megalodons were."
Well, and yeah, I don't, because they're like, it's this like sheath of, I forget what they...
It's frozen salt. It's like frozen. No megalodons coming through that because megalodons aren't tough enough.
Yeah. I forget. They do mention that it's like a 10,000 like depth. I forget which measurement they use. But yeah, it's like 10,000 whatever. And they're like, only 3 people have ever done it, and 2 of them died.
I think it's 6 miles down was that.
Yeah.
But the deepest submarine was 5.
Yeah, I don't think they were in...
You just open my fucking door and then walk away?
I don't think they actually were in like Marianas Trench. I don't know what that one was.
But now, now I don't know if that was like a let's lead into like a sequel or something like, and that's why I'm surprised that at the end credits they didn't do anything aside from just give like the ominous feeling like, oh, there's something else.
Yeah, that was a weird thing to be like. I mean, I appreciate the end they were like Finn because a pun. Yeah. But it is a weird thing where they're like, there's definitely like going to tease like megalodon babies or something else, and they're just it was just the title again.
Now, the director of the film, and I believe Jason Statham as well, came out and said that if the option of a sequel presented itself, they would jump on board. And
I think it's done well. Like now, I recall it opening pretty well.
Oh, it's done phenomenally. It's beating out everything. Even disappointingly, it's beating out Mission Impossible Fallout, which is a fucking phenomenal movie. That, if there was... Kyle, you haven't seen any of the Mission Impossibles, have you?
I've seen, like, one that came out a couple years ago.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. Oh. We talked about it, where it's like Ghost Protocol I saw. It was the one with the water. It was the one with the water. I can never remember which one that is.
That is Ghost Protocol.
Okay.
See, number 6, Fallout, I think might be the best. It might be. It hurts, because number 1's real good. And so is number 4. But number 4 is, like, arguably good. Whereas number 1's just real good. Like, I think there's a unanimous appeal to number 1. I'm getting off track. Meg's doing real good. They said they'd do a sequel. The only thing that they said is they're not going to go bigger.
Yeah.
Because all movies do bigger. So they're like, what are you going to do? And they're like, we don't know. And so it's good to know that they teased. So I'm sarcastic at this point.
Before we get to the end, because I feel the end would be a good jumping off part to the part that I really want to get into.
I'm just extrapolating from that. I'm still on this first 2 minutes here.
Okay.
They're basing this whole thing that he knew it was a megalodon on the outside, but how does he know it's a megalodon? How does he know?
I don't think he says it's a megalodon. I think he's like there was something that attacked that was like crushing the ship.
It's a megalodon.
Yeah, it is until he actually like sees that he's like, oh, it's this.
That's true. I mean, he did prematurely call out what was attacking Sun Yi underneath because he wasn't down there yet.
Yeah, true.
But she got attacked. She's like, my God, it's a shark. And he's like, it's a megalodon. And, he commits to that line. He did commit. He didn't say, my God, because he wasn't surprised. He just knew matter of fact. In fact, it should have been my God, because that way he would have been like, oh, he's learning this for the first time. That makes sense. Famous deep sea explorer who lives in Taipei now, Jason Statham. My favorite of the underwater explorers.
Yeah, and I'm once again like I don't know the science that they're like, oh, it's this and it seemed kind of like weird. Like it's one where it's like I'm giving them based on it. I'm just gonna give them the license to like make up their own science stuff. I don't know how factually accurate it could be.
What, having an underwater thing in the Marianas Trench?
Yeah, and just like I can understand like it adapting and stuff, but yeah, I don't know how realistic that is that there would be a film that would prevent it.
See, I believe that I don't know, famously, as I've stated before, that's now famous. Famously, I hate all things oceanic, and I looked that up. It's not just a small group of islands in the Maritimes. It is in fact relating to all things of the ocean. That's the first definition, so I'm not racist. Take that, Kyle. Now, famously hating all things oceanic, I don't know the first thing about anything about the Marianas Trench. However, I do know that before I realized my deep-seated fear and hatred of all things oceanic, that I used to look up the Marianas Trench information. And I don't think that they'd officially reached the bottom of it. They just scanned it.
Okay.
So I'm, not being a scientist, I don't know if it's plausible that you could have something so hard that you could still make through that would act as a barrier.
And once again, like, I'm not looking at this being like, this totally broke the realism. Like, I'm not...
I doubt it, because they can scan through water.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a liquid surface that, a submarine can go through, I imagine it's not gonna... Sonar is not gonna scan it and be like, well, that's clearly, it's 45% water, so it's a solid. I don't think that's how sonar works. I don't know for sure, though. So that's number one. I did like not Cliff Curtis, the doctor dude.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
I forget his name, but he looked familiar.
I wanted to call him Cliff Curtis, but I don't think that's right.
Also, from the beginning, I kind of had pretty much everyone pegged of, like, who was going to die. Which, once again, I'm not looking to this being, like, surprise me. But, I felt that was a little, like, obvious.
Yeah. I thought they did this well, though. Because at the beginning, the doctor's just like, you killed everyone! You're a son of a bitch! I hope you die in hell! And then Jason Statham's like, oh, it's a megalodon, you crazy doctor guy. And then as soon as Sarah's like, look, it was a megalodon, he's like, hey, I was wrong. Mm-hmm. Sorry. And Jason's like, yeah, alright, that's fine. Yeah,
he had that little bit of redemption, and then he died.
Yeah, rightfully so. I mean, he sacrificed himself for Ruby Rose, which I think is the smart thing to do always.
Yeah, it's... Even in real life.
If Ruby Rose was sitting here next to us, and some dude if like a stray rabid dog came in here and was just like, I'm gonna bite you.
You at it.
I'm gonna bite you. Well, I'd throw myself. Listen, I can't pick you up. And Ruby Rose is here too.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is a dog who's willing to barter. He comes in and he's like, I'm gonna bite you, but I'm only gonna bite one of you. Make your choice now. You have 30 seconds.
A land shark shows up and is like, listen.
I understand you're talking shit about my movie.
This is a life tax. I'm only going to take one of you, though.
Make your decisions now. We'll get you. We're going to take the one, and we'll be out of your hair.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Ruby Rose, though. I'm a land shark, and I know that. I would sacrifice myself.
I like to imagine it would go after Ruby Rose and I'd be like, you know what? No.
Well, as a land shark,
you're a bad woman. We cool. And he would just like peace off.
Is she still a bad woman?
Pretty sure.
Okay, good. I want her to be a bad woman.
Yeah. So is that pretty much
all my problems with the Meg?
Yeah.
The one scene? No. What did you think of Toshi?
It was fine.
Yeah, right.
Like that's the thing. Like character-wise, I was like, they're all fine.
Well, it was like. He pushes everyone up through the hatch, and then he closes the door, bursts off, And then the shark runs away. The Meg. He runs away because there was a loud noise, and he runs away. Mm-hmm. And then Toshi's immediate reaction is not turn off the lights and just try and keep still. Maybe they can come back and get him. He's like, I'm going to turn all the lights on! And then he sacrifices himself. I don't know if it was just, because I feel like they could have just both turned the lights off.
Yeah.
Either way. It was
well, it does seem to be a weird thing of, like, as soon as, like, the generators go on, they're like, all the lights come on. It's like, there's no switch just to turn all the lights off, and you're going straight up, like, it's weird.
Did you see the second Meg coming?
Yeah
Okay,
good. I think
I don't know a lot of people who didn't.
I think I even predicted in, like, the longer version of the last one. Oh yeah,
I did.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned the Leo.
Oh yeah.
You in fact you told me to go fuck myself when I said second Meg because you wanted the Leo, which I agree with. The Leo would have been better than second Meg.
Well, it's the other thing too is even if you didn't see it in the beginning, as soon as they're like, oh, we caught the Meg, and you're like, it hasn't been an hour and 50 minutes or however long the movie is. You're like, man, is the rest of this them taking selfies with the Meg? It's all high fives.
No, it's like the last episode of Sharp Object. It's like Shark comes up and they're like, yeah, and then it's like 45 minutes of this is too good to be true, and then Jason Statham reaches behind him and unzips. He's been Vin Diesel the whole time.
Yeah, so it was one where, like I said, from an intellectual standpoint, I was not like, it was like Transformers, where it's like, I'm not going in there to be like, I hope I get some, like, deep thoughts that I really want to discuss after this.
Like Transformers.
Yeah. I just want to, like,
Is this your car?
I just want to be, like, entertained by dumb entertainment every once in a while, and this just did not provide it. Like, pretty much all of my issues for it end up just being like, I found it to be boring, and that's clearly what this was aiming to not be. Like,
the first time I watched it, I had a lot more fun with it. The second time watching it with you, it's definitely slow.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the first, well, I'd say there's like the 20-minute shit. I think the pacing's all wrong. Because you got like the first 15 minutes, or I guess the first 2 minutes is action, and then it's 20 minutes of nothing, and then it's 5 minutes of action, and then it's 30 minutes of nothing, and it's 4 minutes of action, and then it's increasing increments of like nothing with diminishing returns for action.
Yeah, and it's like by the time you get to like the climax of it, you're like, wow, that was a really sweet, like, 10 minutes.
I do enjoy the fact that they decided to put the Megalodon's POV.
Mm-hmm. That was cool.
As if, well, it was cool, but it's a Megalodon.
Yeah.
It's fucking huge. And he's just like, there's those little legs. Which ones am I gonna... I'm not gonna do that one, because there's another one over here. It's a fucking Megalodon.
Also, like, once again, I don't know the physics of how the water would work, but it's like going underneath people. It's like, you would know. I have a feeling that you would feel the water.
Be a fucking current.
Yeah, like the thing's not a ninja.
Also, all those people on those docks who are like, they're like, hey ladies, over here, look at me. And then they start coming and everyone's like, what the hell's happening? This is so weird. All those people on the dock don't notice the giant fucking shark in the crystal clear water.
Yeah.
No one looked down. No one, as they were going for a splash, was like, that's weird. That's a thing.
Yeah. Also, the fact that everyone is just bouncing on top of the water and no one is like, let me dive underwater. Like,
here's something. What was your favorite death?
I mean,
there was a lot.
The Megalodons.
That was a really good one. That was a really good one. I did enjoy that.
I guess if you go people death,
I'm going people deaths. That was what I was counting.
It would be the billionaire dude.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What's that?
It was someone, like...
I thought he was safe for a second. There was a second, I'm like, he's fine. He survived. He's stuck on a whale. They built that for real, eh?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a real whale carcass they built. It's a whale carcass they built. It's not a real whale.
Yeah.
They didn't find a real whale and build upon it and say, like, this is our whale.
They killed the whale, just to like.
Yeah, they bombed it for real in the helicopter, and then they picked it up, and then they built handles into it for Rainn Wilson to grab onto.
Yeah, I like that was probably I like the human death scenes. That was probably my favorite one. See,
I think my favorite was the guy in the Zorb.
Oh yeah,
he was running on the water, and then
he was
popped.
That was good.
And he was just like running over people.
I think the other, I mean, that one would definitely be second. I think the other reason why is that it was like the classic, like he looks is just like, and you actually got the thing of like I think there's like just a hand left or something like.
Something flew out of it.
Yeah, I think that was like the most like sort of vicious like shark. It was kind of what I was hoping for, a little bit more of just like it's murdering everyone like pretty horrifically.
Imagine if the whole movie had just been like the Megalodon gets like they introduced the whole Megalodon getting out thing like in the first 5 minutes. Like, they skipped the submarine, they skipped the whole Jason Statham's crazy. They skipped the resolution.
Or even if it was like the submarine was the thing that like caused the Megalodon to escape.
Yeah, well, like, that's kind of what I mean. Like, you start off at the moment they're going down, and then, like, maybe Jason Statham's already there, and they're like, we're going down, and then it's like, oh my god, we're being attacked! Oh my god! And then they're like, Jason Statham's got to go down and save them, because, you got to establish that hero principle.
Really, the whole beginning, like, that whole beginning section is just to establish the fact that he and the Doctor don't like each other for this one thing. If you got rid of that whole, like, element, which is a super minor thing, you could just have him be like, oh, he's just head of security at this place. Like, we have to have someone, we have to have a rescue diver because we're going underwater. That's just his job.
You know what? I'm changing something. Don't have Jason Statham working there. He's still in Taipei. I did like him in Taipei. You get Su Yin down there, because I felt she got cheated out of saving those people. Because she clearly tried, and Jason Statham had to save her, even though she had that almost heroic moment where she was in the shark cage, and she did get him. I did like that he was swallowing the shark cage.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming. Also, didn't notice the first time. Second time, they had a little flurry of the Jaws theme, like go really fast as it was coming up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like da-da-da-da-da. I was like, that's pretty neat. Look at that. So Su Yin goes down there. She saves everybody. And then they're like, oh my god, we let the Meg out as we were coming up, and that's so sad. We can't believe we did this.
Also, I think they do say, and maybe there's already the female Megalodon just wandering around, because I think they do say where there's like, it was so quick that only like 100 sharks could get through, or one Megalodon. And it's like, I'm pretty sure they say one Megalodon. And I was like, how did the female get out?
I don't know if they say one Megalodon. I think they say a Megalodon. Implying one, but more of just like a offhand, like a Megalodon is as big as 100 sharks. Look at the size comparison, everybody.
Yeah. It just seems weird that it's like, also, where was this female Megalodon hiding?
Just
like she's just chilling out, waiting for like them to go through it. It's just that was
just like that motherfucker.
Like, unless she was chilling out in like the ocean and was the one that attacked the submarine, and
maybe
there's just been a Megalodon chilling out that
maybe
no one's like, hey guys. Has anyone else noticed all these half-eaten whales just floating to the surface?
So you get the Su Yin, she saves everybody, and they're like, oh my god, we let a Megalodon out. And it's like, where's it going? It's going to Taipei, because as good undersea explorers who were just, exploring and not shark fighters, we tagged it premature. We tagged it. Because our submarines have the tagging abilities, I guess. I don't really care. Give me the ability, because I feel like something that's exploring down there would have tracking abilities built into it. Like, what if you found like a super rare squid and you wanted to study it? You're just gonna be like, I saw it, it's gone now, we'll never see it again.
Also, they make a very minor thing of like, there's this gigantic like kraken like giant squid that like is crushing this pod, and they're just like, it's dead now. No one's like, hey, well, there was a gigantic squid down there. Maybe like they're just like,
I know that there's a humongous squid. Did they just call it like a squid?
I think they just called it a giant like octopus or squid or something.
Because I know there's a squid out there. I forget the name of it. I think it starts with an O. It also might just be called the gigantic squid.
Maybe.
But it's like 2 school buses big. It's fucking ginormous. And it's just down there. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Don't even freak out, man. If it gets you, you're fucked. But, don't even freak out, man. It just likes to be at the bottom, so I don't know if some of the life underneath that Marianas Trench gap was already pre-existing above.
Maybe.
Or below. I don't know. Some of the fish, like with the lights, look a little familiar from when, you're in like high school and they're showing you all the BBC ocean documentaries because they're like, what if you were terrified of fish and we made it worse? Mm-hmm. Some of those look familiar. Yeah. But also, maybe they weren't.
But yeah.
But you get an hour now of they're like, where's it going? It's going to Taipei. Shit. Do we have anyone over there? Because they're I don't know whereabouts in China they said they were. I think it was like 100 miles off the China coast.
I have no idea. I can't remember. Yeah. I don't think they were like really explicit. They were like, we're around China. That was like, pretty much it.
If they were too far away to get to Taipei in the speed at which a megalodon would get there, now you have like, who do we have over there that can like do something? And they're like, we got Jason Statham. They call him up. He's like, fuck off. And then they try calling him again. He's like, no, seriously, I said fuck off. And they're like, megalodon. And he's like, I'm on it. Because, my God, it's a megalodon. And then you have an hour of Jason Statham. You get like 10, 15 minutes of Jason Statham trying to warn like everyone, be like, we got to shut down the beach because the megalodon's coming. And they're going to call him, he's crazy. They're going to be like, nah, you're fucking nuts. Megalodon? What are you, a kid? You're prank calling kid? You're fucking ninny? Are you a weenie? They'll call him. And then you have 45 minutes of Jason Statham having to fight a megalodon. Mm-hmm. Make that movie an hour and 30 minutes. Yeah. Most. I'm much more engaged. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's what we were missing.
Yeah. So is that kind of like...
I'd say you should go see The Meg. I'd say it's worth it if you don't value your time. If you have better things to do, like you don't like going out, like if you're a Kyle and you don't like going out because you're like, nah, important stuff to do, movies are not those, I don't want to see movies because said reasons, then maybe don't. But if you're like, sometimes I just like to get out and go see a movie, I'd say the Meg is worth it. I would.
It's also at a time where it's like there's...
No, I get it. You're busy. I'm not being facetious.
No, it's not even that. I'm just saying, like, if you enjoy seeing movies, you're at a time where it's like, I feel like movies are... Like, there is...
there's not a lot
Fallout.
of Fallout.
Yeah,
like there's the best.
There's Fallout and then not much. So yeah, if you've already seen that, I'd probably say it's the best of like... If you're looking, oh, do I want to see The Meg or Slender Man? I haven't seen Slender Man! But,
from what I understand, it's terrible.
Yeah. Spirit Guide saw it, and...
She said it scared her.
Really?
Yeah, well, she said she had trouble walking home. Oh. Because it was dark.
I just recall her saying that there's a bunch of just, like, really bad scenes.
Well, everyone could go see the Happy Time Murders.
That's a whole nother thing.
Everyone could go see that movie.
We'll discuss that after
murder,
you probably see it.
Puppets.
Yeah.
See, I debated...
This has to be super short.
This is a quick tangent, because today's Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert. So I have to go see a movie today. Mm-hmm. And now I'm torn between seeing Mamma Mia, Here I Go Again, which I really don't care about, or seeing something that's fucking atrocious, like the Happy Time Murders.
So it's essentially just knowing what's
boredom
around,
or cynicism.
So it's either the second Mamma Mia, which there are movies where if you like those kinds of movies, I'm sure you enjoy it. If you don't,
I didn't care for the musical genre at all.
Yeah, I don't like them either. And then it's like, so just based on the movies around here, it's either that or Slender Man or Happy Time Murders. Is that pretty much it?
Yeah, but Slenderman's just like, I'm not even remotely interested. Happy Time Murders at least has like the say, like everyone I've talked to who's not you is like, it looks fun, I can't wait to see it. It doesn't look fun. It looks fucking atrocious. It's just garbage jokes
that are all once again, we can't get into it right now.
I won't take us over 32 minutes here. So that's the turmoil.
Okay.
Again. Mamma Mia. Like boredom, or I can hate something.
Yeah.
Just so openly, which I do like doing, and that's pretty much the only choices I have right now. I don't know. It's gonna come down to.
Well, why don't you just like ask the person you see movies with and see if he has an opinion between those three?
I will. You know, it would suck if he's like, that
here,
movie looks great.
While you do this, so, as Noah said, I don't really, movies are like the least of my forms of media that I enjoy to sort of gorge myself on. However, though, I'm more partial to like books. Now, The Meg is based on the book. Not only is it based on the book, and my phone's shut off, so it's gonna be a while before I can go through. But there's like 7 books. The newest one, Meg Generations, came out this year, like January 30th.
He started writing these in 97.
Also, yeah, when the first one came out, I think they started to work on it. So it's been in some form of like production for like 21 years.
Oh, well, it's got this huge fan base.
Years. Yeah. Well, I mean, to write 7 books through a publisher, like, it's not like a self-published thing where he's just like, I'm just putting these out because I enjoy it. Like, a publisher's like, we will pay you money to write these and then pay the money to print them out, and like agents and editors
Disney
and all that
first,
jazz.
didn't it? It was Disney in 97.
Yeah.
And then I think Alton wrote the script for it too.
I don't know about that.
Well, I think Alton wrote the first script, and then Disney was just like, nah, we're going to get someone else to write it. And so they got another writer. And then Deep Blue Sea was coming out, and they were like, well, we don't want to compete with the Oscar-nominated, Oscar-winning, fucking Tony Award, Grammy, all of the awards having...
Listen, we're not going to get off on topic, talk about fucking Deep Blue Sea and LL Cool J.
I'm not getting off topic.
I just want to talk about this Steve Alton's books, about the Meg and just how it went.
This is all relating to it. This is all relating to it.
You went back off into, like, the movie.
I'm just talking about the production of it. It's fascinating stuff. If anyone really wants to learn, just look it up. It's like 20 fucking years of just turmoil and disappointment. And also, it was going to be directed by the guy who did Alien vs. Predator, and also written by him at one point. So, you know what? We got a pretty good one, I feel. It's safe to say.
Oh, it's definitely better than it could have been. It could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot better. But yeah, don't get me wrong.
Well, and they hired him after Alien vs. Predator came out. They were like, "Oh, we know what you did. We know what you've done here. Yeah, we want you."
So, yeah. Now, also, so I haven't read any of the books. However, the first book, because it's become a movie, it kind of has like the plot synopsis on Wikipedia. So I read that, which, just as an aside, if you don't have the time to like read something, but you're like, I kind of just want to know what's up, it's very hit or miss to find Wikipedia full plots on books unless they're like a bigger name. But they're almost always really well done.
That's how you did the Saw movies, isn't it?
I've gone through the entire Saw franchise, reading the plot. Like, movies, they will almost always have the entire plot on, like, Wikipedia. It's amazing if you're like, here's this franchise everyone talks about that I'm not interested in, but I want to know about.
Yeah.
I've done the Saw franchise. I know I should read them, but I never will because there's a ton, and I'm not a huge fan of, I appreciate Stephen King.
Can I guess? Dark Tower.
Yeah. There's just, like, a bunch, and they're super long. So I read through the entire, like, Wikipedia, just, like, the plot for every book on that.
Intriguing.
Which still took, like, an hour. Anyhow, so there's also an upcoming Meg book in 2019 with a question mark again, called Meg Purgatory.
What?
Also, so the first was Meg, a novel of deep terror.
Yeah.
And it seems like the movie's kind of taking stuff from, like, the first 3 or 4. Also, if you go to, like, Google Books, they just have, like, I'm assuming it's just ripped straight from the back of the back page. It's just sort of like a synopsis of what the book is about. But yeah, so the first one's, like, Meg, a novel of deep terror. Then the second one's just called The Trench. And then all the other ones are called The Meg. Like,
is The Trench, like, in direct relation to Marianas?
I don't know. I'm assuming so. That's the one where there's, like, they go back down and there's, like, 100 Chronosaurs, like, attack the submersed, like, the
Chronosaurus shows up in 2?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. How does 1 end?
One. Oh,
You piqued my interest. You gave me like the you gave me the cliff notes of cliff notes.
Yeah, this is why I wanted like the beginning to be super quick because I have to leave. I was hoping for like 15 to 20.
Ah, well, that's pretty close.
Because I have to leave and there's some stuff I want to do before. Also, it starts in the Cretaceous period where the megalodon eats a T-Rex.
Yes. Yes. I've seen there's like fan art of that on images. Google, I mean.
Yeah, and it's like also Jonas Taylor is like he's in the Navy, and once again, this is from Wikipedia, right? He's just like Jonas Taylor's working with the U.S. Navy. His mission is top secret and involves confirming the existence of an extinct species of shark known as the megalodon. And then while on the dive, Jonas watches in horror as the megalodon rises from the depth. Jonas surfaces as fast as he can and escapes. Unfortunately, the Navy does not believe his claims, labeling him a madman and ruining his career. So the Navy's like, we know there's a megalodon, go on find it. And then he comes up and is like, yeah, you're right, there's a megalodon. He's like, no, there isn't. You're crazy. Your career is ruined. Yeah, and then approached by a friend, Tanaka, who has a remote submarine in Mariana's Trench and hopes to, he lost his submarine in Mariana's Trench and hopes to retrieve it. And Taylor sees this as an ability to see like, the megalodon exists, and then he goes. Also, a lot more people die in the book. Like, so in the movie, Jonas Taylor's wife is like she's like, I also work submarine stuff. I don't really know what her job is. Like they never, what? Yeah, like she's just piloting the submarine. Deep sea diver, I guess. Yeah, I'm not really sure. In this one, she apparently had like an affair with him and is like a journalist, and apparently she goes down into the water and gets eaten by the megalodon in like a shark cage.
Like Toshi.
Yeah, and they do the whole thing of like they get the megalodon and then the second one shows up. Oh, also in the book they have bioluminescent hides from being like underwater for so long,
which
I like under in the trench for so long.
I like the idea of it. It would look stupid in film.
Yeah. Also, Jonas and Tanaka come to the horrific realization that the female is pregnant and realize that they must capture her before she gives birth. Maggie dies.
Maggie?
No, that was Jonas Taylor's ex-wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. With time running out, Tanaka... So this is the finale. Also now, spoiler alert, if you haven't read the book and you're like, I'm going to read the book. With time running out, Tanaka and Jonas manage to track down the female as she gives birth. Jonas uses a submersible to kill the female by driving the sub down her throat, then slicing through her body with a knife and stabbing her in the heart. Jonas manages to escape the megalodon's corpse just as it begins to sink. Tanaka and Jonas are able to capture the baby megalodon before it swims off and are excited about the opportunity to study this believed to be extinct creature in the flesh. And then the trench... Also, all the other ones, so it's the Trench, Meg Primal Waters, Meg Hell's Aquarium, Meg Origins, Meg Night Stalkers, Meg Generations, and then Meg Purgatory.
Is Meg Origins a prequel?
I guess it would be weird for it to be an Origins but not.
Is it the best of the series, just like in X-Men, where they had Wolverine Origins and it was the best?
Also, when the female grows up, they name it Angel, and it's apparently larger than the other one.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Wait, one quick thing. I forgot. In the early script by the guy who did AVP, at one point he depicted the Megalodon as having wings. For flying Megalodon.
For all those for the strategic underwater things that you need wings for. God, that guy.
What you need to take to the sky is because you have enemies of the sky. Mm-hmm. For you are an object of the sea.
Yeah. So... They go... So, essentially, what happens is they have this baby megalodon. So, the guy's like, I want to put it into my, aquarium and open it to the public. And they're like, no. And he's like, fuck you, I'm a billionaire. I'm doing this. And then, late one night, 3 young boys sneak into the institute with the hopes of capturing a glimpse of the prehistoric shark. While on the underwater observation deck, the teens torment and aggravate Angel, who bursts through the viewing glass. The teens struggle to swim for their lives, but Angel attacks and kills one while the other 2 drown after becoming quartered in the underwater area.
Wow.
And then so they, Angel gets out, and then she kills a whale named Tootie that was released by SeaWorld.
Tootie.
Yeah, so they kind of track it. Okay, here it is. Back on the mainland, Singer pursues Terry and asks her to assist him on his deep sea research station to study sonar records to determine what happened to one of the station's research vessels. While there, Terry realizes the station has uncovered a new marine predator thought to be extinct, known as the Kronosaur. While it was said this species, also if you look it up, it's like a giant alligator-looking fucking thing.
Play art, you'll know what it is.
While it was said this species was a solitary hunter, Kronosaurs had evolved to hunt in packs due to being trapped in the trench. Terry realizes the operation is dangerous and is almost killed by the station's crew, but is able to escape in a lifeboat submarine while the crew is torn apart by the raging Kronosaurs. And then, so at the end of this one, Jonas knows the future looks grim with more megalodons with more megalodons are introduced in the ecosystems. As they could be a real environmental disaster. Terry assures him that this is a new dawn for science, but Taylor expresses his hope to have a normal life away from the horrors of the deep. And then there is 5 more books. So essentially, like, Angel gives birth to, like, 2 new megalodons, and then they go into the trench again. Now,
just stop going into the trench.
So, if you recall from our previous one, and especially like the shorter one, I guessed at the end that there was like they're gonna tease the Megalodon cinematic universe with the second one, the fucking Leo.
Yeah.
All right, which is short for the Leopleurodon. Once again,
the magical Leopleurodon.
Yes, keeping the in the same with like 3-letter name. I was close because in the books, motherfucker, there's a Leopleurodon, and this is where I really wanted to start getting into like just Steve Alton and his books just in general. This is gonna be fairly quick because I have to leave in a little bit, and there's some stuff I want to do before I go. So in Night Stalkers, which I believe is the 6th of 7 books. Also, Jonas Taylor, who is Jason Statham's character, he apparently has like a kid, and so this is the Goodreads, which I once again I assume is just like the back of the book, or no, this is Google Books. Bella and Lizzie, the dominant megalodon siblings from Angel's brood, have escaped the Tanaka Institute to roam the Salish Sea in British Columbia. While Jonas Taylor and his friend Mac attempt to either recapture or kill the sisters, Jonas's son, David, embarks on his own adventure. Motivated by revenge, having witnessed his girlfriend's gruesome death, David has joined the Dubai Prince's Ocean Expedition, tracking the 120-foot, 100-ton Leopleurodon that escaped from the Panthalassa Sea. Haunted by night terrors, David repeatedly risks his life to lure the Leo and other prehistoric sea creatures into the fleet's net while battling his own suicidal demons. I guess that there was a goddamn Leopleurodon and there was a goddamn Leopleurodon. And then, it gets really just buck wild. So, yeah, and then, like, the other, and so it seems like it's just like the Jonas Taylor's still going with the Megalodon, his son's hunting the Leopleurodon, and there's just like he weaves through a whole bunch of stuff. By the 8th book, I think that's like once again just reading the back is like Jonas Taylor has cancer, like
stage 4
stage 4 cancer,
like the last before you die. Do you think that's what he gets to the Megalodon and he's like, Meg, I've got cancer, stage 4, and Meg's like, oh no, and then the Meg's like, what can I do to help? And he's just like, you can die in hell, and then he like stabs himself, and then all the cancer like flows out of him since they're in the water and it just spreads to the Meg.
Now, so
That's how cancer
I
works.
like that Steve Alton has kind of, like, he's really found his niche, kind of.
He's committed.
Whereas, like, so then he went into, he's like, I've gone through with the Megalodon. I've even thrown Chronosaurs and Leopleurodons into this. What else can I do? What other large underwater sea creature are people fascinated with? That's right, the motherfucking Loch Ness Monster. So he now has a series of, like, 2 books called The Loch.
Wait, is this not connected to the Meg?
I'm gonna get there.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry.
I'll
And
shush my beak.
so his whole thing is like, it's this guy, and like his father's on. He has to go back to like Scotland because his father's on trial for murder. But his father's like, no, it was the Loch Ness Monster. I shit you not. That's the fucking plot of this. Well, once again, so the plot of this, by the way, is on Wikipedia, but it doesn't tell you how it ends. It just kind of gives you like, it's better than the back of the book. But it's not quite the whole thing.
Kyle, I've got questions.
Oh, also, okay. So you know the bloop, correct? Like the underwater like sound thing?
Yes, I do.
American marine biologist Zachary Wallace, which also the Wikipedia thing switches between calling him Zachary and Wallace, which is super confusing because both could be first names. To witness giant squids. While there, the sonar picked up a reading that the military had named the bloop. As the bloops closed in, the 3 passengers aboard the submarine witnessed the giant squid mercilessly get torn apart by a number of identified creatures. The submarine's acrylic bubble suffered severe damage, and it's like it cracks, the pilot dies, blah blah blah. Wallace survived, and sadly, after returning to South Florida to take his position at Florida Atlantic University, he finds out that David blamed him for the destruction of the sub and the death of their pilot. Fired from the university, Zachary's life goes downhill, spending all of his savings on drinks and in nightclubs. Weeks after, he receives word that his biological father is on trial for murder. His father, Angus Wallace, lives in a village on the shores of Loch Ness in Scotland. Zach hasn't seen him since his mother divorced, blah blah blah. However, he agrees to go to visit Angus when his half-brother says he is needing the trial. Zachary reconnects with some old friends, back home and prepares to help his father. However, this is complicated by the fact that during the trial, Angus testifies that he is not guilty of the murder and that he actually witnessed the victim being attacked by the Loch Ness Monster.
How? Okay, I have questions.
Well, I just want to go through one more thing. Desperate to salvage his academic reputation, Zachary must discover the truth among his friends, family, the mysterious Black Knights, a branch of the Knights Templar, and other secrets. Like, listen, Steve Alton.
No. I want to know where this goes because I've got questions. I've got one question first.
Okay.
That maybe you might know, maybe you don't. What?
Oh, it's okay.
No.
You ask your thing first, and then
Okay.
I might be able to answer with this next thing I want to bring up, which will answer another question.
They were what evidence did they have for the father? They'd be like, yeah, you clearly murdered this person. If a thing under the water was like, I'ma eat you, yum yum. How does that look like? I stabbed you real good and then eat you, yum yum.
I don't know.
Where's the? You see a what? What is this? Is this creature just a knife? Is it just like the Loch Knife Monster? And it's just a big knife with littler knives for hands, and it just stabs. It goes, I'm gonna get you, and it stabs you. And then it has the ability to spray suspicion on another person.
It planted the body. It ripped it out and threw him into his house. He came home. He's like, "Fuck is this?" And meanwhile, like a cop's going by. He's like, "Hey, is that blood everywhere?" All right. I can't answer that question with this. However,
the Loch Knife Monster just disappears in the lake, going,
also,
rubbing his knives together.
So he then came out with a sequel to the Loch called Vostok. Now, if you look up the image for Vostok, it's Vostok. There's like a weird alligator on the cover. I don't know.
Oh, that is an alligator. What the fuck?
I don't know. I don't know why there's just an alligator. But I'm going to read you once again, this is the Google Books synopsis. And Noah, okay. Please stay with me. This is verbatim, word for word. East Antarctica, the coldest, most desolate location on Earth. 2.5 miles below the ice cap is Vostok. I don't know if that's how you pronounce Vostok, by the way. And
how do you spell
it's
it?
Vostok.
Okay, those are watches. I'm trying to look it up.
A 6,000 square mile liquid lake over 1,000 feet deep, left untouched for more than 15 million years. Now, marine biologist Zachary Wallace and 2 other scientists aboard a submersible tethered to a laser will journey 13,000 feet beneath the ice into this unexplored realm to discover Mesozoic life forms long believed extinct, and an object of immense power responsible for the evolution of modern man. I know. You're like Steve Alton. I see where you're going.
You're like gonna, Mesozoic periods trapped underneath ice.
You're gonna keep it to things, and then he just got weird.
He took the Assassin's Creed route. It was just like Garden of Eden. Here's the apple. Everyone's not a person. They're all robot aliens from the future, but they're not. And also, here's gods.
Now, so that pretty much. Oh, okay. So before I go into where he starts to get like. And to be honest, like, once again, reading sort of, like, his Wikipedia thing, seems to be a smart dude. Has, like, a couple degrees in, like, he has one in, like, sports medicine or whatever. He has, like, a sports thing degree. Alright, now here's one, and I don't think I told you about this one because you were like, we have to save this for the broadcast. There's two things I really want to touch on of just, like, I think you've gone too far, Steve. My boy, listen. You had a good thing with the Meg. You had your pool. You were good in this what you were doing. And I think you kind of, pun intended, went off the deep end just a little bit with these next couple series. Now Noah.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the book by Steve Alton called Sharkman?
Oh.
Once again, you can Google the title to see the cover of this book. Just go Sharkman, Steve Alton.
I read the first 3 words.
Let me read you the plot synopsis.
Please do.
This has become Kyle Reed's plot synopsis for you guys, which I do like that as just being a small part of the broadcast, but I really there's so much. Please bear with me. Paralyzed in a car accident that killed his mother, 17-year-old Quan Wilson. I think it's Quan is Quan.
Yeah, that's right.
Is sent away by his overbearing father to live with his maternal grandmother. Depressed, contemplating thoughts of suicide, he accepts an internship at a genetics lab in Miami working with shark stem cells that are being tested on rats to cure cancer and repair spinal cord injuries. When a promising breakthrough is made, Quan steals the elixir and injects them into his bloodstream, altering his DNA and his destiny. Like, there's so much to, like, go through in that.
He stole an elixir that helps fix spinal injuries.
Cure cancer and
do that,
fix your spine.
2 things. So, could it cure your cancer if you didn't have a fucked up spine?
I don't know if it's
would it cure cancer you didn't know you... What would it happen if you just had a spine issue and they gave it to you? Would you gain cancer?
I don't know.
Would it have, like, a negative effect?
No.
Would it cure some ailments you don't have? And now you've just got this thing in you? Is that going to deteriorate? Why does you become a shark?
Now, alright, so here's where Stevie Wonder...
yeah.
Got a little, like...
All 10 out of 10?
Sharkman, at least he's still staying with sharks and water.
The name's Steve Alton. The S is for shark.
Now listen. Once again, hey, good for him. He's writing books. Awesome. I'm not trying to shit on his accomplishments. However, he then created another series called and he has lots of books. He has the Domain trilogy, and then he has other novels. But
the name of the novels?
There's nothing that really stands out. He essentially has sharks and then like end of day, like doomsday Mayan like apocalypse type ones. Those are the two ends of the spectrum he's on. All right. So this is Phobos, Mayan fear. Which
Mayan?
Mayan.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Not mine as in MEIN.
No. Also, yeah, so now this is the end this is the end of his Domain trilogy.
Okay.
Which I assume is all about like the Mayan doomsday thing.
Having a dedicated server.
A dazzling look at Mayan mythology incarnate from New York Times bestselling author Steve Alton. Emmanuel Gabriel travels to the end of the world and back again for one last shot at global salvation.
End of the world? What? What do you mean? Is the world flat?
This is the... I have no idea. Emmanuel, the surviving hero twin foretold in the Mayan creation story, finds his world rocked after an encounter with his deceased grandfather, archaeologist Julius Gabriel. Julius reveals everything the Mayans knew and feared, from the very secrets of creation to the presence of extraterrestrial benefactors, from mankind's intended purpose to the preordained end of days. If Emmanuel is to thwart Judgment Day, he must act swiftly.
I don't know if swiftly is the best word there. There seems like a lot of words when you throw in end of days and the end time predictions and extraterrestrials. I feel like swiftly is probably the most delicate word you could use there.
Now, there's one other book that it
would be like, he murdered him daintily.
Now, there's one more from this, like, the Mayan, like, 2012 thing. Which was just a ridiculous, it was just a ridiculous thing, like, to begin with. Yeah. They're like, why doesn't this calendar go on forever?
Well, it's because the end times.
Also, I like how they're like, if the Mayans could really, like, tell the future, why wouldn't they be like, hey guys, I think the Spanish are going to show up and try and murder us all. Maybe we should, like, build stuff around the water.
They're too busy looking at the stars, telling people they're going to die because stars. Oh, I can't talk about this now, but I really want to. I'll tell you after.
Okay. Yeah, so he has one more, and it's Grim Reaper, End of Days. Like, everything he reads, I feel like should be, like, the title of a cold case file. Or, like, something just ridiculous.
Something that it's anything that David Caruso would say on CSI Miami.
Yes. And like this whole thing just, all right. This is long, but this is like a long joke where the punchline is just like, it's worth it at the end. I think. I hope it is. Okay. This is kind of where I want to end. This is the last thing, I swear. From Revelations to the Mayan calendar's 2012 prophecy, all major cultures and religions warn of a darkness to come, a supernatural event that will be the modern-day equivalent of Noah's flood. In the 13th century, Europe suffered through war, famine, and the evils of the pogrom acts of hatred that massacred tens of thousands of Jews. In 1346, at the height of corruption, the Black Plague struck the Eurasian continent, wiping out half the world's population while spawning a new legend, the Grim Reaper. In Grim Reaper, End of Days, international best-selling author Steve Alton takes us on a classic hero's journey of good versus evil, transformation, and redemption. Far more than it seems, the story draws frightening parallels between the lack of morality that corrupted 13th century Europe and the greed that has marred our own society and economic collapse. Two endless wars and a very real covert biological program exposed by the author, which could lead to a global pandemic and our own prophesied self-destruction in 2012, 666 years after the Black Death struck Europe. Also, I like how he's like, I'm gonna expose this.
Steve Alton as himself.
I don't know. I haven't read it, but I don't know if he's like, I'm Steve Alton, and I'm going to expose his covert biological program.
When was the bubonic plague? When was that? That was that 12?
I don't know off the top of my head.
So anyway, okay, I'm gonna. Oh my god, I have to. I have so many questions. 666 years for obvious things.
It's like,
why?
I don't know. Also,
14th century. That's the one. Okay.
Also,
1400, 666. Yeah, okay. That adds up to roughly modern day.
But he distinctly was like 1346, the Black Plague. It was like, was the Black Plague less than a year? I feel like the Black Plague, like, kind of like
1346.
Yes,
so
he distinctly says.
Well, is that right?
This one was
2012.
It was 2012, like the Mayan,
yeah.
like yeah. Because it all ties back
Steve
into
Alton has written all these books. World famous Steve the Shark Alton.
Also, this book came out 2013. This is for people who missed out on the 2012 craze and were like, shucks, dog, I really wish I could go back. And
do you think Steve the SS for Shark Alton wants to open up his own school of history where he tells people about the history of the world, starting with the Meg? And he's like, guys, this is everything that happened. There's like the Mesozoic period and the Cretaceous and the Jurassic period. They're all trapped under the water. But don't worry, because in 1346, when the bubonic plague hit, I looked back in time to see that, and then I figured out how to save the world. You're welcome. That was last year. You're all welcome. Welcome to the school of Steve the SS for Shark Alton. And that's got to be his master plan.
Also, so once again from Wikipedia, the bestpedia. He apparently has a bachelor's degree from Pennsylvania State University, a master's in sport medicine from University of Delaware, and a doctorate in sports administration from Temple University.
You know what my favorite thing about all those is? Nothing related to the water.
I was gonna say, like, I unless
not
there's
even marine biology.
I also like how he's like holds a bachelor's degree in what? It doesn't say what his bachelor's degree from Pennsylvania is.
No, he just holds it. Like, he goes to Pennsylvania and just holds it above his head saying, look it!
Do you think it's a degree in how to be a bachelor? Do you think that that's a course they have in Pennsylvania State?
Yeah, I do. That's gotta be it.
But yeah, everything else is just like sports stuff. It's weird.
So are those connected to the Meg, or are they just the separate spin-offs?
I think they're separate.
It's a shame. Do you think he's planning one super movie or super book where they all come together as one?
Also, one thing I do have to kind of give him a brief shout out is like he does have one called The Shell Game that's all about just like, hey, stop like relying on oil, dinguses. So that's nice. Right. But like,
well, I feel like he peppers those like environmental warnings into
it was like
books.
In the Meg where they're just like, they killed the shark fin, like
they've taken the fins of the sharks just for a bowl of soup.
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, it's awful. It's a weird thing in the Megalodon when they're hunting at Megalodon to be like, here, you know what's a tragedy? These guys that kill sharks and take their fins, which don't get me wrong, it's terrible, but it's just a weird thing to like have in the middle of the movie.
It was a harsh, right? Was just a fucking rapid turn.
Well, especially because it's right between two action sequences.
Yeah,
and you're just like,
the slow moment was just like them looking at the camera, being like, "Don't kill sharks." Also, fun fact about that: sharks don't float, so those would not be up there. They'd just be sinking. They'd be gone. They'd be food for another megalodon who's down there eating on finless sharks. Cannibalism. Apropos.
I know I said I wasn't going to.
Well, I don't.
Can I just say that? I mean, I guess probably
I don't remember you saying you.
We're already at an hour, so no one's going to watch this anyhow.
Disagree.
So for the Shell Game, which is the one where he's just like, there's. So it starts with September 11th. ... War in Iraq. ... Turmoil in the Middle East. ... An impending war with Iran. Also, this came out in 2009. They have one thing in common: oil, and the world is running out. And it goes through just like, is it true?
Yeah.
The tale opens in 2007 as the CIA plans a nuclear attack on an American city, blaming the deaths of millions of Americans on Iran and inciting a retaliatory strike that will place the U.S. in control of Iran's oil resources. 5 years later, petroleum geologist Ashley Ace Futrell discovers that the world's oil supply is rapidly nearing its end when his wife, a former national security advisor, is suddenly murdered. Ace finds himself hurtling down a rabbit hole that leads to the brink of World War III. Do you think they refer to him as Ace? through the entire book.
I don't... probably, but that's a name that I don't think you could ever take seriously unless you had, like...
Ace is up there with Champ.
You're like, well, you gotta be from, like, the 1920s to be able to convincingly be like, hey, Ace!
Yeah.
What you doing down here? You got those fancy clothes on, Ace.
Yeah, it's... God.
Yeah, that's something. Did I tell you about the it's five movies that me and I don't know if movie guy wants me to say his name, but it's fine. We'll just call him Kevin.
I like that we have Spirit Guide and Movie Guy.
So me and Kevin, when we came out of the Meg, we were hyped on it.
Mm-hmm.
We fucking had a great time. And so immediately we started planning out 5 new movies. It wasn't intended to be 5. It was really only we were just discussing what a sequel might be. And we were like, the Meg ends with 2 dead megalodons. Leopleurodon's the movie number 2. Naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So Leopleurodon, he's down there, and you know what? This is where things get interesting, because the second movie is actually not going to involve the Leopleurodon all too much. It's really going to be like a relationship story between Jason Statham and his favorite shark, Lucky.
So what you're saying is that it's going to be the Godzilla of the Godzilla reboot of the.
Yes.
Okay.
And famously from the Megalodon cinematic universe, the MCU. So it would, because the one thing I was super disappointed in about this movie, above all else, was that Jason Statham did not find a shark, call it Lucky, put a saddle on it. That's his brother. That was what I was missing. And so in the second one, he finds that shark, and it's like the dolphin tale, but Jason Statham and a shark, and they become best friends over the course of the movie. And it ends with the cliffhanger of them going into charge against the Leopleurodon. And then the third movie opens up with an all-out battle between Lucky and the Leopleurodon, and it's a big fight. It's a fight like nothing else you've ever seen, and it's gonna be real bad. And then it ends in a draw. Not the movie, this battle. And so Lucky and Jason Statham, they limp off back up to the surface, and Jason Statham looks at Lucky. He's like, or Su Yin's up there, and she's just like, how'd the fight go? And he's like, we need more firepower. And Su Yin's like, leave that to me. And she goes down underneath the Marianas Trench and opens up the hole again, and like 10 megalodons come out. And then Jason Statham goes down there with Lucky, and Lucky speaks shark to the megalodons, and they have to have this bonding moment. And so you get 40 minutes of like a frat house kind of thing, where Lucky's trying to like join the megalodon party, and then you get to like the 10th task, and the first one's just like, make out with a dolphin, you weirdie, or something. And then it's like, don't swim forward like a shark's supposed to, I don't care. And then they pass all the trials, and Lucky's included in the megalodon pack, and Lucky's first thing as the commander of this pack is, we're gonna go fight the Leopleurodon. And the Megs are like, sounds good, brah. And so they go down there and they fuck up the Leopleurodon to no end. And that's how the third movie has like 20 minutes left, and everyone's like celebrating. Jason Statham, he's hugging Lucky. He's just like, I can't believe we did it, buddy. We killed it. And then he looks up and there's 10 megalodon. He's like, my God, it's a megalodon. And he says it only once, but even though there's 10, it's implied 10 more times. And he goes up to the surface, and Su Yin, she's crying. She's like, I can't believe it worked. This is a beautiful day. This is a beautiful day. And everyone's all cheering and happy. And then the 10 megalodons pop up, and they're like, yeah, we're here to help humanity and whatever. And then in the last 2 minutes, a laser comes out of the fucking sky and eviscerates the 10 megalodons. Just cuts them right in fucking half. And Jason Statham like turns around, and Su Yin turns around, and Lucky turns around, and they look up into the sky to see what's this. Yes, the space pleurodon. So the space Leopleurodon's up there. He has a laser. We got this idea when we found out about the wings thing. We're like, what if there was Leopleurodons in space? What if there was Leopleurodons in space? That's something you need to know. And so the fourth and fifth movie, they're actually 2 parts, because of course we want money. So fourth part would be now Lucky has to train to go to space to fight the Leopleurodon. And so...
which I imagine is done via training montage.
Absolutely. It's just like Rocky. Eye of the Tiger's playing. It's fantastic. Tears will well up in your eyes as you see it. But now Jason Statham can't go to space because famously Jason Statham can't fit in a spacesuit. So what's the only sensible solution? Jason Statham, he's down there and Lucky's like, hey buddy, what's going on? Jason Statham's like, Lucky, I can't go to space with you. And Lucky's like, bro, why? She's like, I just don't fit in a spacesuit. And Lucky's like, well, I can fix that. Climb in my mouth. And Jason Statham's like, are you for real? He's like, yeah, I am. Climb in my mouth. Famously, shark stomachs are safe from space. And Jason was like, that only makes sense. And so he climbs inside Lucky, and now he's inside Lucky. And then Lucky takes off. And the trick that he learns in this training montage is he has to go as far down, like underneath the Marianas Trench thing, and he has to like shoot his way out by like plugging up a geyser with his tail, and then he has to shoot himself out into space. And so he gets out into space, and as he clears the atmosphere, and he clears the other spheres, he sees the Leopleurodon, and the Leopleurodon says, "Son." And that's how the fourth movie ends, and the fifth movie's gonna be an all-out battle. Now here's the thing. Somebody has to die in the fifth movie. And I know what you're thinking. This is the end of Lucky. This is the end of Lucky. No. We're taking the Star Wars route. Because we want the father-son bonding to be very strong here. Because it's the Space Leopleurodon who gave birth to Lucky years ago. And maybe there's a flashback sequence in this movie. The fifth movie, the first 20 minutes, flashback sequence. Between Space Leopleurodon meeting the Megalodon mom who gave birth to Lucky the tiny shark, it's like Finding Nemo. Charlie, shh.
We should wrap up so one of us can like throw the mouse for Charlie.
She really wants it. Anyway, it ends with Jonas Taylor has to sacrifice himself because he has stage 4 cancer and he's clearly not going to live any longer. And so he's like, Lucky, shoot me at the Space Leopleurodon's like head and I'll kill it. I'll slit his throat. And Lucky's like, no, you'll die. He's like, I'll do it for you because we're brothers now. And then like Lucky's like, what? And fires Jason Statham out to the Space Leopleurodon, and he slits the Space Leopleurodon's throat, and he says, goodbye, Lucky. And then they drift off into space like the end of Gravity. And then Lucky goes back to Earth, where Su Yin's like, thank you. And Lucky's like, all in a day's work. And then he gets a medal, because Chewie didn't. So the Meg does. And that's what we talked about for a while. It ended up being like a 50-movie deal involving Finding Nemo and Deep Blue Sea and every shark movie that exists sort of welded into this MCU. And that's pretty much that. So that's pretty much it for this week, everyone. Kyle's tuned out. He's doing things on his phone, like typing sentences to me from afar, which I will not.
I have to leave. I have stuff to do and I have to go.
So thanks for watching this week.
This was not supposed to be an hour and almost 20 minutes.
Nah, it's 15. It's fine. So if you saw the Megalodon, what did you think of it? Leave a comment in the section.
Thanks for making it this far.
Yeah, if you saw the movie or made it this far, both are admirable feats. Post a comment about. Ooh, no, that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. I was gonna say, post a comment on how far you made it into this video, but they won't know that unless they reach this part. Unless this is going to go on for another half hour. It's not, though. Did you see the Meg? What did you think of it? If you liked it, let us know in the comments. If you didn't, let Kyle know in the comments. I'm sure you guys have a lot to talk about. And Kyle, take it away. Just remember to sign off.
Are you saying you don't?
Don't do it. Don't do the guan. Don't. No.
Alright. No, I'm not going to because I want this to end. Alright, well, thanks for watching another shit show that we call the Boxland Broadcast. Hopefully the next one is not this long because we were hoping not to, and may the Grand Tsar bless your days.
Bye-bye.